All week long you've waited, and now it's time for Kickoff. Fighting Chance Kickoff. Starts and sits, injuries, weather, and the latest news. No hot takes, no BS, just the information you need to crush your competition. It's Fighting Chance Kickoff with Kevin Tompkins and Gary Haddow.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fighting Chance Kickoff. We started the morning with just absolute unrest and chaos. And yeah, Gary, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. It has been a wild morning. I feel like my wife doesn't really care when I talk about football. And every morning it's like, let me tell you the COVID update. And she's always so interested because this is just, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, ridiculous is not even the word to describe it. Honestly, it's deeper than that. So let's go right into, Denver, New England is postponed. So first of all, if you have any players in those, in that game, get them out of your lineup. I mean, you're going to have to find contingencies. Hopefully, you don't have waivers in your league. You can't, you can just pick guys up. Hopefully you're scrounging on the bottom of the barrel here. In a lot of leagues. I know I have. So, get them out of your lineup. And Tennessee had a staffer test positive as well. So we don't have any updates on that. But, I'm thinking that's probably not too far away, but we don't have official word yet. So we're kind of in a murky spot. So if you can, I would take those guys out at least, just and kind of be ready. Keep your, ears to the ground and, see what comes up. We'll try to get something out too. Obviously guys like Tom Pelissero, Adam Schefter will have those as it happens. The Fantasy Life app is a great app too, to get all those updates. Sleeper will, turn on notifications. You'll with all that, you'll be one of the first people to know. So, Gary, this is now we've got just everybody scrambling here. Hopefully you commissioners have, we're forward thinking and adding COVID spots and adding roster spots to allow for, all this to happen. So that's where we're at.
It's crazy times, but let's jump into it. I mean, we got a lot to cover. Injuries and start sits are just insane. I just want to weigh in real quick. Not that like my opinion matters. I will be very disappointed if the NFL actually proceeds with the game on Tuesday. I know they're doing everything because the implications of how much they have to move around and stuff, but it's incredibly unsafe to force the players to do this crap. So I'm benching everybody. Anybody in that game, I'm not even like, I've already told my leagues like, hey, you can submit a replacement, but I think that you need to even be putting in whoever your replacement is into your roster. If the game happens, then I'll put back in your Tennessee or your Buffalo player because they should not play.
No, I absolutely agree. So we'll see what happens with everything. It's like I said, it's fluid. It's gonna change. We'll probably make an update. Because that Tennessee Buffalo game is slated to happen on Tuesday. So hopefully we get an update at some point soon before kickoff. Obviously there are no fantasy football play, is in mind with this. So that's what makes it very difficult, but hopefully we get something today at the very least. So, so let's get into injuries here. So we have a lot of questionable players. Let's start with Julio Jones. Julio Jones has his hamstring. He is a game time decision. Luckily, we will get update on that in about 40 minutes when inactives come out. That's a true game time decision. So for me, the clear pivot here is Olamide Zaccheaus. Who had a great week last week when Julio did leave the game. So I think that's a pretty easy decision. If you have Zaccheaus or if he's out there and you have Julio, here's a clear ad for me to just as a contingency.
I like him a lot. I mean, it's not as, Ridley, there kind of talks about him being a little banged up, but I really do like him. I think probably the biggest beneficiary will be Hayden Hurst when Julio's out, but I'm starting Zaccheaus a lot of places. So,
yep, absolutely. And he's certainly an easy, bargain basement pick in DFS too, because I believe on DraftKings he's only 3,000. So you can get some bang for your buck there. And then you're talking about other players, Houston, Jordan Akins, the tight end, has a concussion. We'll see if he goes today. he did practice a little bit, but we'll certainly see with that. And then most of our questionable tags really come in the late games here. So we'll go to San Francisco. Raheem Mostert, I would say, is on track to come back today for San Francisco. Deebo Samuel had an illness who, he was negative for COVID 2 days in a row, so he could come back to practice. So that's a true game time decision for me. Weigh in on your boys here coming back in.
Yeah, I think Debo will play. I think the NFL is well suited for stomach viruses and stuff, to be perfectly honest, because they'll just pump you with a bunch of fluids. So I think that he'll be there. My main, when it comes to Mostert, I think that they just want to get the band back together. You look at this game; it's a must-win game given what happened against the Eagles last week. So I am all aboard the Niners offense. Like, disregard my homerism. I think that they are going to smash this week.
Yeah, that's, it's a pretty decent matchup there. Certainly, against Miami, they can get everything right and then just get the steamroller going. And then we're looking at the Monday night game that will be played, New Orleans and the Chargers. Michael Thomas, his ankle injury, he's also on tap to play. I think he's going to, finally get back in. So if in the event that he doesn't, Traquan Smith is, a good pivot there. If you've got him, you've been pretty happy with him the last couple of weeks. And then, same as last week, because Jared Cook did not play, but he could be back into the lineup with that groin injury. So thoughts on those Saints guys?
Yeah, I was listening to the Ballers this week, and they were talking about Michael Thomas and whether or not it's a bye week next week for the Saints and how much that's going to impact what they do. The Chargers are legit right now under Herbert. I think that the Saints know that they need to win this game, and I don't know if they would be able to win this game without Michael Thomas. This isn't the Detroit Lions. They are going to be playing a legitimate team, and if Thomas can play, he's going to be out there. At worst, his ankle gets a little bit tweaked. Well, then you have a bye week to rest it up and you get another 2 weeks off type thing. So I think it's full steam ahead for Michael Thomas. I have him in my lineups. It's Monday night. I don't really care. He's too good he's worth the roll of the dice. Yeah,
absolutely. 100%. I've been itching to play him, just waiting all this out. So we'll obviously see what happens with that. I know that's Monday night, but that's going to be a little bit tougher to at least pivot to somebody. But like I said, if you have a Traquan Smith or even, a guy like Jalen Guyton, the Chargers, that, somebody at least in the event that he doesn't play, somebody to pivot to in that game. Now let's go to guys that should be. I'm sorry, actually I did skip one. Mike Williams has a hamstring, is also questionable in that Chargers Saints game. It's a bit of a deeper lineup decision there. More than likely, you'll probably have better options there for Mike Williams, but also something to pass along there too. And then now back to guys that are expected to play. We have a trio of Ravens who people really weren't thinking they weren't going to play, but they did pop up as questionable. All three, Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, and Marquise Brown, all slated to play, expected to play per Adam Schefter. So, should be good to go in that game, Baltimore and Cincinnati. Also, Joe Mixon with a shin injury should be able to play. So no need to worry about your Gio Bernards there. Cam Akers for the Rams is going to muddy up that backfield even more. He's slated to play with that rib injury, that cartilage separation. Still not touching the Rams backfield though, as far as fantasy goes, because it's too muddy.
And I do agree, but I was listening to the Fighting Chance live. I wasn't on it this week, and you and Rosalie and Steve were talking about that backfield. I actually kind of I think that Akers has a chance. A lot of people are forced into playing him, and if I'm forced into someone there, I know that Brown and Henderson make the most sense. I actually total narrative, but I think that Akers is going to get some run. I think they're going to be up. They want to get their shiny new toy back on the field and see what they can do with him. Week 1 was an issue because we had injuries that popped up and we didn't really know what was going on. And it's been injuries since then. So that being said, he's going to be a terrible start. But if I'm forced to pick between one of the three of them, I think that Akers is going to get more. He's going to do more than we think, and it's not something that I'm excited to have in a lineup. But I just had to say my piece that I think moving forward, Akers is going to start establishing himself.
I certainly hope so. I mean, I will say, starting none of those options, that does not make you feel good at all. I mean, you're pretty much just rolling a 20-sided die at this point, to see what comes out there. But and then also in that San Francisco game, Jimmy Garoppolo. We don't have to worry about Nick Mullins or Beathard because Jimmy Garoppolo is going to play. So, good, certainly adding more good news to San Francisco, getting healthy, as the bye weeks start to hit and as we start to get, that team rolling. They've been playing pretty well as is. So, I mean, getting all those guys back, it's only good things.
Yeah, completely agree. And, if Jimmy's on your waiver wire, I really think that people should start looking at, potentially picking him up even for a backup. This is the reason why we have multiple backups this year. And we've always talked about it. As Andrew just said, I don't know how to pop this thing up, but as Andrew just said here, he's got to play Flacco because Josh Allen and Tannehill are both out. I have a league where I think I have Cam, Allen, Tannehill, and all of a sudden it's like I have to do Flacco also or some other bottom of the barrel. So
yeah,
if Jimmy's available, go pick him up. He's way better than any of the spot starts you're probably going to find.
Yep, agreed. And then one more guy expected to play, Deontay Johnson for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who had a toe injury, left in week 3 early and then didn't come back into the game. Obviously, with COVID, he had another manufactured bye week, but now he should be good to go on the outside for the Steelers.
Yep, completely agree. We'll get to Deontay. We're having a lively conversation about him in the Fighting Chance Live kind of DM that we have with all the writers and whatnot, contributors. So we'll get to him when we do start sets.
All right, sounds good. You want to get into some questions here?
Let's do it.
All right. So first one, it's Deontay's running mate. PPR, by the way, Juju Smith-Schuster or Miles Sanders?
So let's actually do the Deontay conversation because it's going to inform the Juju one.
Okay.
So yeah, sorry. So the question here is now is Darius Slay, who is a really good, pretty much borderline shutdown corner, is he going to be on Deontay, who tends to run on the outside, or is he going to split between he and Juju? Juju runs a little bit more a lot more out of the slot. How do you weigh in there?
As far as the usage or just in general?
In general, do you expect Slay to be on Deontay?
I mean, more than likely. But I mean, I think Juju's going to operate in the slot. He's going to get moved around a lot more. I don't think Slay is peak Slay when he was in Detroit.
Yeah.
Like 2016, 2017. But is he a good corner? Is he a clear and obvious upgrade to what the Eagles had? Absolutely. So that's what, if I were going to make this decision between Juju hasn't been great, what we've been used to seeing out of Juju. But, I think clearly in that offense with Ben Roethlisberger back at the helm, that's going to be, you're going to see some fruits. He's not going to be in the weeds for that long. So I would go in this matchup. I would go Juju over Miles Sanders.
I would go Juju over Miles Sanders, and I think that Ben is an intelligent quarterback. He's going to go where Slay isn't, and if Slay is going to be on Deontay, it's a little bit of a fade for Deontay. I think Kevin said it in our chat, he's still pretty much a must start in your redraft leagues and whatnot, but I think this bumps Juju up higher than I originally had thought of him because I had it flipped in my head who was going to go on who.
Right. Yep. All right. We got our good friend Axel Jansen in the chat with us every week, so we appreciate you, bud.
Yes,
DJ Moore, Greg Ward, Jarvis Landry for wide receiver 3.
DJ Moore, can't overthink that. I mean, I get what he has not done, but he's going against Atlanta, division game. I think it's going to be a really high scoring game, or at least I hope so. The Falcons they're trying to play for Quinn's life, so they're going to go out and do everything they can just to ball out on offense since their defense just doesn't have that in them.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to like him for some reason. It's just inexplicable to me, but you can't overthink that. That's DJ Moore all day on that. So let's see. We got some more here. Brandon Ayuk or Laviska Shenault.
Oof. Ah, man.
They're breaking them this week, man.
I like both of them. I think that Chenault probably has more of a floor than Ayuk has. And I think that Ayuk, they probably have similar ceilings. If Debo, that illness, maybe they give Ayuk a little bit more, but we haven't really seen him with Jimmy. So probably going to have to lean Chenault. I also think that the Texans are going to come out swinging on offense and blow up, and that Minshew is going to be forced just to constantly be in comeback mode.
Yeah, it's that we just fired a new coach. We just fired our old coach. Let's play hard for the new coach and stick it to him narrative. So that's a lot of Will Fuller weeks have been prognosticated this week. So yeah, Brandon Ayuk and Laviska Shenault are both used very similarly. So that's you're basically just going to bet on the offense. Ayuk may not have the opportunity there if we're figuring San Francisco with all their parts back are going to be healthy and rolling against Miami. So that's especially in comeback mode. If Jaguars are down to the Texans, I think Laviska Shenault's going to be getting a lot more opportunity at offense. I'll go Laviska there.
Yeah, and the Niners, when they're running on all cylinders, they are okay for fantasy. But outside of Kittle, maybe Jimmy or Mostert, they're a much better football team than they are a fantasy team.
Yep, absolutely. Axel back with another one here. David Johnson or Josh Kelly for RB3 in standard.
It's David Johnson for me. That's an awesome RB3 situation for you.
Yep, agreed, 100%. Just that Texans that narrative we just talked about here. So, David Johnson here clearly, for me at least. Let's take a look here. So, what my boy here, my wide receiver 8 of the week, Justin Jefferson or Tyler Lockett?
Tyler Lockett. I mean, I know that Justin Jefferson. Sorry, Jesus.
They're both they're both in the same game.
Yeah, for some reason in my head they were in different games, and then I realized that's why I was like, oh wait. I'm still gonna go with Lockett. He's tried and tested. But those are awesome. Try and get them both in your lineup.
Yeah, for real. I mean, in that decision, I get, Tyler Lockett, you've been there with him, you know what he's got. Ride the wave. I'm going Justin Jefferson here.
Ooh, fair enough, man.
Man, I mean, like you said, I mean, you've got them both. Who do you have that you can't start one of them?
I feel like they're going to end up with very similar outputs because one's going to have the 1 to 2 touchdowns and one's going to have the triple-digit yardage.
Yeah, and if we're figuring the Vikings are going to be passing, that condensed target tree there, that's I think Thielen eats, Jefferson eats. I think Cook is going to have a great game out of the backfield too. Especially receiving.
I think the over-under is 59.
I didn't know if it was going to hit 60 or not. It's settled on 59?
I'm just looking right now. Seattle, Minnesota, over-under. I know that it was 59 earlier in the week.
Yeah, I was going to say.
God, I'm so bad at looking these things up. It opened at 56.5. So I don't know. We'll look and see. I'm sure we'll be coming back to that at some point.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So I got a pick 2 here. Let's see. CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Tyler Boyd, and I can't read. Oh, Myles Gaskin.
Oh my gosh. I am going with Lamb. Those other guys are all like, hey, they could do something, but I'm not going to mess with that.
Pick 2. We got one more between Boyd, Gaskin, and Gallup.
I'm going with Boyd. I think he's just their tried and tested, and in Burrow, I'm starting to trust.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, it's a tough matchup with Baltimore, but you know what? If he can go for 300 here, and maybe some garbage time, I think he's a set and forget quarterback at that point. If he can produce this week, if he can produce close to top 12 numbers at the position, these questions, these are all that we've gotten from every one of you, so we certainly appreciate them. If you want to send us more questions, just hit us up on our Twitter at KTompkinsII, at GaryHadda1. Send those over to us, or come join us in the chat if you see us here. We're live. So just send your questions over. We'll be happy to answer them while we're on the air here. And then, afterwards on Twitter. So Always happy to do it. And we got a bunch more here from all you. So again, thank you so much for all the questions and all the support you've given us here for Fighting Chance Live and Fighting Chance Kickoff.
Hell yeah. I have a question for you before we jump into another start sit.
Shoot.
I want to know your thoughts on this. I fully believe that the Cowboys are going to do everything to slow the game down. They've been one of the fastest paces in the league, if not the fastest, like 19 seconds of play.
Yep.
It's obviously not working, and their defense is getting shredded. I think that against this offense, this could just be this massive, like Zeke gets like 30 touches type thing, slow it down, because you know that Dak can always come back if they need to. Right. Try and control the pace of game. And it's made me a little bit hesitant. Like, again, if you're going to that previous question, some would say, we'll just start Lamb and Gallup. This is going to be this high scoring affair, but I'm actually tempering expectations there. And this is ridiculous for me to say, like, Dak's been on fire. Why would they slow him down? But at the same time, you got to do something because there's a runaway train and there's no breaks right now.
Right. You can't burn the guy out 5 weeks into the season. Mm-hmm. I mean, keep in mind that, here's his attempts through 4 weeks, 39, 47, 57, 58. That is not sustainable in any way. He's
on pace for 800.
There's no way, even in a pass first NFL, that's not happening. And it's funny because, I think I showed you my DFS lineup and I have Zeke in there for that reason, because I think almost that the Cowboys receivers in at least a DFS are a bit of a trap. The Giants got, I'm totally on board with Evan Ingram and Darius Slayton in DFS, in comeback mode. But I think Zeke Elliott slows it down a bit. I think they get back to running the ball and just controlling clock and doing what they need to do. Maybe Dak throws 35 times. I mean, that's a lot for some guys. Certainly not a lot for him. So, I think that's absolutely valid. 100%.
All right, back to some questions here. So pick 3. I thought this was an interesting one. It's half point PPR. Woods, Joshua Kelly, Drake, or McKinnon. We'll just go with who are you sitting out of those? Woods, Kelly, Drake, or McKinnon? You got to sit one.
Probably sitting Kelly, honestly. I was thinking of leaning to McKinnon, but I think he'll still clearly be involved because Mostert probably won't be 100%. So I think he'll get worked in a little bit more than, obviously we saw pre-injury. But I'm going to take out Kelly there and start the other 3.
Yeah, I think I agree. I'm also just nervous. Like, I feel like I kind of have to sit Drake just because he hasn't really shown it. And it seems like Edmonds is coming up, which I guess kind of leads us to the whole Edmonds question. And that's like, what the hell do you do with Edmonds this week? Is Edmonds a flex-worthy player?
For me, yes. I think he's getting a lot of that passing work that Drake isn't getting. I think he's a little bit more of a trap, too. I think Drake, I don't think he's going to come out and run for 135 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't think that's going to happen. But can he rush? Can he get fall into a touchdown and get 80 yards? Sure, absolutely. Against this defense, I mean, you got to figure. Arizona stumbled last week. They're going to want to get right back on the ship, and what better way to do it than to do it against the Jets? I think they're going to be able to dictate the pace, do whatever they want to do against that defense. I think they're going to get back to, getting to run the ball a little bit more. Kyler's going to get his. He always does on the ground. But I think Drake is going to have, he's not going to be, a top 6 option for the week. But I think he can certainly make fantasy, managers happy with a 70 to 80 yard stat line, maybe a catch or 2. And, he's got a good shot at getting a touchdown.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So we got some questions here, more in the chat. Full point PPR have Michael Thomas, Josh Kelly, Michael Gallup.
That's
where Monday makes it difficult.
That is so weird. I can't see that question for some reason. I'm going with Michael Thomas. I mean, at least that you can pivot to Josh Kelly, so just go with one of those 2.
Yeah, if it's your flex, I would assume obviously your flex. Yeah, Michael Thomas. If something happens, pivot to Kelly. Let's keep going here. Jameson Crowder.
Julio is inactive.
Julio isn't active, so get your Olamides Zacchaeuses in there, and that is not a veiled insult because it kind of sounds like it. But yeah, get your Zacchaeuses in there.
Well, then, since he is inactive, let's pop to this. We're going to go Mixon or McKinnon at running back, and whoever's left, so Mixon or Jet versus Russell Gage and flex. So let's do Mixon or McKinnon first. This is for our J-boys.
Oh boy, because Mixon should be active, I would guess.
No, he will be active.
Yeah, so I think you go Mixon there. I think you can maybe ride a bit of that wave too, and then that McKinnon versus Gage.
Yeah,
McKinnon.
Ooh, interesting. It's spicy.
Yeah, Gage hasn't. I mean, I know Atlanta's going to throw, and Matt Ryan hasn't looked the greatest.
Yep.
I'm just gonna go with McKinnon, who has been obviously worked into that offense. I think Gage just kind of tapered off a little bit, lost some of that value. He can certainly get it back. Don't get me wrong, but we're not going to see week 1, week 2 Russell Gage. I don't think. I think McKinnon's a solid play there over Gage.
Yeah.
I'll pull up kind of a couple more in the chat here. I had one pulled up here. Jamison Crowder, Jarvis Landry, or Myles Gaskin for flex and PPR.
I want to go with Jamison Crowder. I just feel like Flacco's going to hyper target him.
Oh, man. We say that, and it's going to be a Jeff Smith game. So
let me say this. We have seen Crowder with some okay quarterbacks, some bad quarterbacks. He has always put up a PPR floor, almost always. So yeah. I don't mind him. I actually, Jarvis, it would be my second, and then Gaskins would be my third because, Jarvis hasn't done a ton, but he just, to me, has a little bit of a lower floor, probably with a higher touchdown upside, but like they're pretty damn equal. And Myles Gaskin is actually starting to cede some snaps to Matt Breida. They're going against the Niners. If they get down, game script, all that stuff. Like, I don't know how much Gaskins is going to get used. Watch Gaskins blow up now, so I'm probably going to order them Crowder, Landry, Gaskins.
Yeah, it's tough with Crowder because, even if he gets a 6-catch, 40-yard game, that's usable. There's your 10 points. So, yeah. I mean, that's certainly within his realm of possibilities. With Landry, though, God, I would because I think
on who they're playing.
They're playing Indy. They're playing Indy.
Oh yeah, dude. I don't know. The middle of the field with the Colts is pretty darn hard to penetrate. So the Colts defense is just awesome. I was 1 year too early on them. So
Crowder. I'm going Crowder.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Full point PPR, Kelly or Drake?
I want you to answer this first.
Drake. I don't feel good about it, but there's a good shot there against the Jets. I mean, if he doesn't do it this week,
he said it last week.
Yeah, no, but I mean, knowing that he had this matchup this week, and I told Rosalie and Steve this too. We're all pretty much in agreement. If he doesn't do it this week, you can't trade him. You can't do anything with him. This is going to be, if he doesn't do it here, Chase Edmonds is going to take over that backfield. I mean, and it's tough. Yeah. God, I was all over Drake. I thought just the opportunity was there in the offseason and he was going to be primed. They obviously wanted to keep him around on that transition tag and do all these things with him in the backfield and the receiving game and everything. And we're just back to the same spot. Maybe it wasn't, Miami and how, he would get just underutilized. Maybe it was Kenyon Drake. It was Kenyon Drake in the house all along.
Right. I'm only going with Drake, not because of the Jets, but because Kelly is up against the Saints.
Yeah, it's a matchup play. I'm going Drake. Yeah, and I feel all the Drake managers' pain because I have him in a lot of spots. Yes. How about Crowder, Greg Ward, Jarvis Landry for wide receiver 2? So we're switching out basically Ward for Gaskin, but that doesn't change much for me. I would still go Crowder here.
One of my favorite starts this week is Pittsburgh, as against Philly for the defense. I just think they're going to shut him down and destroy Wentz's soul. So I'm going to go with Crowder. Ward isn't even in play here. And so.
Yeah, I like that. That's actually, I played a correlation with Pittsburgh and James Conner in the Millie Maker, actually. So we will, myself, Gary, and Steve, we have maybe a little bit of running bet going on our Millie Maker team. So we'll see how that goes today. We'll post that up on Twitter. That'll be fun when I throw up a couple goose eggs on my team here. But let's get into more of these questions here. DJ Chark or Robert Woods PPR?
DJ Chark.
Do.
I'm gonna go DJ Chark. I know that Woods, might have a higher floor, but I think they obviously missed DJ Chark. They made a point of getting him involved last week, and I think that game is just going to be a high scoring affair. I don't know if the Rams need Bobby Woods.
Yeah, that's fair. They're back to back in my rankings. I clearly think highly of both of them. Yeah. I mean, those are two of my guys. Give me Robert Woods. I think he'll get back in the end zone this week. I think he'll be fine against Washington.
Yeah.
Both are good starts. Clearly, they're both wide receiver too. So, Deontay Johnson or Le'Veon Bell, who is going to come off IR and start.
Deontay Johnson, I think.
Yeah.
I'm nervous that Bell's just not going to have much room to run. He'll get 65 yards, and you're hoping for a touchdown.
And you're hoping for probably 5 to 6 catches too.
Yeah.
So certainly he'll put up a Frank Gorian, Frank Gore-esque line today.
Yes.
Olamide Zaccheaus or Mecole Hardman, and with this made it a little bit easier to make this decision, at least for me.
It's Zaccheaus. I'm actually texting with my buddy who's asking me the same thing right now, and I said Zaccheaus is the floor play. Hardman is the upside if you absolutely need something, but I'm going to go with Zaccheaus just because I'd rather get 10 points than none.
Yeah, that's very, very, very true.
Justin, can I ask another question about Zaccheaus then?
Sure.
At this point, in like the Millie, I feel like, or just in any GPP, Zaccheaus is almost like a fade because so many people are going to put him in. He's $3,000.
Yeah,
so I don't know what to do with something like that.
Yeah, that might be a pivot. That might be a pivot because I'm gonna guess he'd probably be 25 to 30% owned, at least in that. That's gonna be. It's tough to separate yourself when with those higher owned players.
Yeah.
So that's where you certainly have to pivot and find a contrarian pick to make your bones.
Going back to the well with Kenny Stills.
Going back to Kenny Stills.
He's going to have 2 touchdowns. It's going to randomly pop one week, and I'm going to be like, yes. Okay.
That's how people make their money. I mean, guys that play like Harry Douglas for like 4 cents and win the damn thing. We got to pick 2 here. DJ Chark, Will Fuller, Marquise Brown, or DJ Moore in PPR. Those are good options.
I've made this decision in a PPR league. These 4. And I'm still waffling. I don't even want to I don't know. You answer it.
Oh, you're just gonna pass this off to me. All right. Between these 2, oh man, Will Fuller.
Yeah.
And it's between Chark and Moore for me, but I think I'm gonna go Chark.
Yeah. I think I'm going Chark because of the touchdown upside. I'm literally changing my decision in my other league right now.
Yeah, well, it's tough when you've got the wide receiver 1, Robbie Anderson, out there and DJ Moore hasn't been DJ Moore, but I think a lot of that is overreaction, and I think he'll be fine once that offense is running how they normally run. When they have McCaffrey back, I think he could come back as early as next week, I believe.
Yeah,
that we saw. So, I think DJ Moore is definitely a buy low right now. I don't think you can get him for a lot. I think fantasy managers are frustrated with his lack of production, especially on his own team when they see Robbie Anderson going off. So yeah, I think DJ Moore will be just fine.
So my actual decision, I have to pick 3 from DJ Chark, Will Fuller, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, and DJ Moore. Obviously, Hill's in. So now I have to pick 2 between Chark, Fuller, Lamb, and Moore. It's so tough.
I don't envy you. Do you have do you have that 20-sided die? Because you might need that one.
Yeah. Well, exactly right. All right. Well, we can move on from that, but yeah, I think we're in the same boat. It'll be Fuller and then Chark probably for the upside, Moore for the floor.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. I think Chark has got a good shot at bouncing into the end zone this week. Oh, did I tell you I'm starting Alec Ingold in a league?
I did, and I had to figure out who he was.
The Raiders fullback. He's involved at the very least, but it is absolutely bare bones. And we're talking about a league where I have Derrick Henry, Zach Moss, Phillip Lindsay, and Rex Burkhead as my running backs.
Oy.
So yeah, it
tough.
was either him or I don't even know who Trenton Cannon, the backup in Carolina, I think right now to Mike Davis.
Yeah,
that
sounds about right.
I'm literally hoping for a 1-yard touchdown. Like I am praying he gives me a Mike Tolbert line.
Yeah, is Travis Homer available?
Nope. No, this is deep.
Okay,
it's so deep that like Tyler Irvin for the Packers is rostered.
Yeah,
yeah, it's tough. Mike Boone's out there though.
No thanks. Okay, with Julio out, Debo or Gage?
Oh man, Debo.
I'm going Debo too. More for the ride. Is Anthony Sherman available?
No, he's not. No, I swear to God, he's not even out there. I looked. Those are the 2 I looked up. Him, Juszczyk is rostered.
That makes sense.
Yeah, of course it does. Let me look at your shirt. All right, Chase Edmonds. Here we go. This is the dividing line right here. Chase Edmonds or Kenyon Drake?
Yeah, that sucks. Like you have to go with Drake just because he has more touches. But if it flips this week, it flips this week. Like in the next 3 weeks, we are definitely looking at Dobbins becoming the primary. We are looking at Edmonds becoming the primary. Akers becoming the primary. Yep. I guess those are the main 3, but it all could happen here in the next few weeks. Just a reminder of everybody, preseason just ended last week in theory, like now we are actually starting the NFL season. So for anybody that doesn't understand what I'm saying, preseason didn't happen. So these games count for that. But anyway, moving on.
Yep. One in the chat here from Axel here. Baker Mayfield, Daniel Jones, or Fitzmagic for QB2 if Josh Allen does not play.
I have this decision between Daniel Jones and Fitzmagic.
Daniel Jones for me.
Daniel Jones is really the upside. I'm worried that Fitzpatrick, while he should do well to his receivers, that he's going to get, I don't know, he's going to have some picks and whatnot. I actually would not play Baker Mayfield. He's my least favorite of these 2. Even though the Browns are playing well, the Colts defense is just, they look awesome right now. And we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, Colts defense might be the best like real world NFL defense right now. I mean, DeForest Buckner has absolutely transformed that defense.
Completely. He's very, very good.
Yes. You would know about that. Absolutely. Todd Gurley or CeeDee Lamb?
CeeDee? I'm just nervous. Like if Gurley doesn't get a touchdown, what happens?
Then he gets 50 yards and 2 targets for no catches.
So I'd rather go with CD. I also think that the Panthers are putting something together that we're going to be slow on the uptick to realize what's happening.
Well, Carolina's their defense has been playing not terrible, not as terrible as everybody thought.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like I'm looking at teams that have had just bad defenses for a little while in like Carolina and Cincinnati, and they're starting to come around. Especially Cincinnati. Cincinnati is not a pushover on defense like they used to be. I mean, you can still score on them, but you know, they've got, especially in their safety play with Jesse Bates and guys like that, they're pretty solid. And William Jackson at corner.
Like I said, Bengals 2021 are going to be an actual NFL team.
Yeah, who knew, man? All All right, this is tight end premium here. Dalton Schultz or Mark Ingram?
Dalton Schultz. I think Dalton Schultz, because you know that he's going to have some targets. He has a nice floor. Ingram, who the hell is going to be their running back this week? We don't actually know.
That's the thing. Get the die out.
So along those lines, then, Kenyon Drake or Mark Ingram?
I mean, Drake. Just play the matchup.
Yeah.
At least he's gonna get. I mean, not that Ingram wouldn't be involved, but I mean, look at their. I mean, I don't think Ingram has had double digit carries in the last couple games. I mean, it's been like that 9-8-5 split between him, Gus Edwards, and Dobbins.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild, and nobody's really separated themselves. So yeah, to your point before about Dobbins, that's the thing where we'll probably see some more Dobbins coming into the halfway point and into the home stretch there, just because they need that upside.
Yeah,
as long as he's healthy, I think he's got a good shot at getting that backfield because nobody is separating themselves.
Yep, I agree.
Yep.
With Julio out, would you go Ryan or Minshew?
Oh man,
I'm still going Ryan.
Yeah, I think last week was a bit of an aberration. I mean, Green Bay secondary played out of their minds, especially Jair Alexander. He held Calvin Ridley to 0 catches. So I think you still got to play Ryan. Although I'm looking at it, I have Minshew one spot over Ryan. I think it's a coin flip for me. Matt Ryan is, obviously going to be able to throw no matter what the game script is going to be. Gardner Minshew, we think they're going to be passing. That could be a shootout there against Houston. Flip a coin, man.
My logic is reports are that JJ Watt was one of the people that really organized like the mutiny that got Bill O'Brien fired. If that's the case, that defense could come out wanting to destroy a divisional opponent, and that line could try and just get to Minshew as much as possible. I trust Ryan to make less mistakes than Minshew.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Okay. I'm on board. Can't go wrong with either way, though. I think both are top 12 options, and both are certainly startable. But can't fault you for going either way.
Yeah. Would you rather start? Did you already ask this? Lev Bell or Tyler Boyd?
No, but I would take Tyler Boyd all day.
Okay, and then pick 2, half PPR: Robinson, Sanders, or Davis. You gotta sit pretty much one. I'm sitting Sanders. Robinson, Sanders, Davis.
Sitting Sanders.
Yeah.
James Robinson is an must start every week now.
Yeah.
He's my running back 3 this week.
Yep. And I think Rosalie said that she expects him to be RB1.
Yeah, I mean, that tastes as hot as the hot sauce that she put down her gullet. I mean, she was a rock star. I don't know if you watch. Did you watch any of that hot sauce draft? I didn't know if you did or not.
I did not.
Man, if you go, it's on our YouTube for Fighting Chance Live. It's 4 hours, but I mean, you can always just scroll through it. But yeah, she just absolutely was a champ. She put all of us to shame.
It's terrible.
Yeah. Let's see. Rams defense or Steelers?
Love them both. They would be my 1 and 2 on the week. And I'm going Steelers. I trust the Steelers D-line to get to Wentz over and over and over. This is going to be like an 8-sack game, 10-sack game.
I agree, but for the Rams, go Rams. Good luck, Kyle Allen. They're my number 1 defense of the week. Steelers, I have them at 7. Now, I get it. There's defenses I'm higher on. I'm higher on Baltimore. I am higher on Kansas City. I'm higher on San Francisco. I was higher on Tampa. Whatever. But, Steelers have a good matchup, but I think the Eagles can do a little bit more on offense, maybe in garbage time.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So Mark Ingram or Naheem Hines in full PPR? This is more of a
Ingram.
decision. It's more of a decision than I thought it would be, honestly.
Yeah,
but I'd still go
it
Ingram.
is. Agreed.
All right, so I got some more here. Here we go. Eric Ebron, Hayden Hurst, or Greg Olson.
Eric Ebron, Hayden Hurst.
Going with Ebron. I think Ebron's due. Steve, Steve's been talking
about him.
Yeah, he is. I mean, I am too. I think he's a good sleeper. His production is ramping up a bit, and when he was playing, he scored. I think he was like 5 for 58 and a touchdown in week 3.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to use him a bit more going forward here. So now that Tomlin talked him up big time.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to use him quite a bit here and make him a regular feature player in that offense, especially with Roethlisberger. There. So let's see. Myles Gaskin or T. Higgins?
Jesus. Probably T. Higgins. Sorry, Myles Gaskin, because I just know that he's going to get touches. I don't know what T. Higgins is going to be able to do. Like, is Marcus Peters going to be on T. Higgins? Is Marlon Humphreys? Like, I'm guessing it's going to be Marcus Peters.
Yeah, I haven't taken a look at the cornerback matchup. I can pull it up here, but I think I just looking at it now, I think I would go. I think I would go Gaskin.
I don't feel wrong in saying that. One of those is going to be on AJ Green. I kind of forget that he's there.
Well, hey, you know what? Give it a couple weeks. T. Higgins might be playing ahead of AJ Green here.
Yeah. But yeah, so Gaskins. I have 2 questions here from 2 different people, but we'll do one then the other. So, Antonio Gibson, David Johnson, or Darius Slayton, full PPR?
Antonio Gibson, Darius Slayton, and who else?
David Johnson.
Gibson.
Interesting. Over David Johnson?
And it was Johnson and who else? One more.
Slayton.
Slayton.
So DJ Slayton and Gibson.
Oh, it's tough. David Johnson. All right. I would start David Johnson. And it's tough because I think Slayton can pop off today against the Cowboys.
So that's my next question. Is Deontay or Slayton? One's almost a must start, and one is a good matchup. I
think if Deontay's in, you got to start him.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Yeah, I like Gibson today a lot too. I think I don't know if you were watching, Fighting Chance Live. Gibson's getting a lot of those red zone work and in the inside 5 work.
He's getting a ton of it,
which was absolutely surprising to me. Obviously we know him as a receiving back, not being a running back for very long, but the fact that they're trusting him with that kind of high leverage work, if they can put some things together on offense with Kyle Allen or maybe down the road Alex Smith, that's going to help him, just cement RB2 work.
I completely agree.
Yeah. Let's see. If the Titans and Bills do play, Keenan Allen or Derrick Henry in the flex?
I just cannot. I'm not betting on the Titans playing. I will happily be wrong on it. So I'm going Keenan Allen. Also, Keenan Allen has a pretty good match and a great matchup, but I think Keenan Allen is matchup proof at this point. Herbert likes him, and Herbert looks awesome. He looks awesome. I'm happy to go with Allen there. I mean, Henry is still going up against the Bills. It's not as if that's an easy matchup. Right.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think you got to go Keenan Allen here. I honestly don't think that game's going to get played. But we haven't seen anything definitively yet, so we'll keep your ears to the ground on that one. Also, Gary, I did look that up. PFF, as far as the matchups, they have Marlon Humphreys in the slot with Tyler Boyd, so likely T. Higgins would be up against Marcus Peters.
So who the hell's covering AJ Green?
Anthony Averett.
Man. AJ Green, who knows? Maybe he pops off in the matchup where everyone fades him.
Well, yeah. I mean, as far as that matchup, I mean, Green. I mean, they Higgins has a pretty. It's actually a pretty neutral matchup based on how Higgins has done this year.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at all the advantages as far as the matchups. The single highest advantage this week is Deebo Samuel against Noah Igbenogany.
Yeah, I saw that. It's hey, can you send me the link to that? I was looking at it earlier. Someone had tweeted it, but I can't. But I don't know where it is now.
Yeah, I'll send it to you on Twitter here. So we got some more questions here filtering in. So again, we thank you for all those questions. Keep sending them on over. We're here every week from 10 to 11 Central, answering questions, and then afterwards on Twitter too. So always happy to do it. Always appreciate the support, and appreciate you guys sending these questions in.
Definitely.
Let's take a look at Robert Woods or Mike Davis. Flex.
Mike Davis, he's just guaranteed touches. He's just playing so well right now.
Yeah, I think you got to go. This might be the last week to start Mike Davis. So, I mean, I think you got to start him here just on upside alone. And look at that matchup. I mean, he's gonna be able to do almost whatever he wants if they'll let him in Carolina. So, I like that matchup a lot. Let's see here, Justin Jefferson or Jonathan Taylor. Did I ask that one? I feel like it did.
No, you didn't. That's
okay.
That's an interesting one.
Jefferson or Jonathan Taylor?
I'm actually going to go with Justin Jefferson. Jonathan Taylor's, he needs to show it first, and Jefferson is showing it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I wrote about him in my article on fightingchancefantasy.com for sleepers. Or I'm sorry, my start, sits, and sleepers. So absolutely 100% Justin Jefferson, at least in that one. We're looking at a guy who has the most 20-yard catches, 20-yard or more catches in the NFL with 8 so far. Kirk Cousins in an offense that's going to be able to pass the ball against Seattle at will. With a narrow target tree, per Grant Barfield here. I'm looking at it right now. In weeks 1 through 2, Vikings lined up Jefferson in the slot. And he just had, 2 for 26, 3 for 44. They put him outside for 88% of his snaps in week 3 and 4, 7 for 75 and a touchdown, 4 for 103. So clearly, a guy that's played in the slot in college, now moving to the outside where, maybe his physical traits are maturing on the outside, being able to win. There you go. You're starting to see the fruits of that labor. So I think they have a budding star and possibly what I call the AJ Brown of this year.
Yeah, completely. I have 2 yucky questions. So Allen is going to be out for a team, or at least not getting started. So Minshew or Fitzpatrick?
Minshew.
And then pick 2. This is rough. Logan Thomas, Tyler Eifert, Jack Doyle.
Pick 2?
Yeah.
2 of them?
It's also known as Scott Fishbowl.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that'll happen. Logan Thomas is I'd say a must start in that trio. It was Jack Doyle and who else?
Jack Doyle and Tyler Eifert.
Oh, my brain hurts. Tyler Eifert.
That's exactly what I have too.
Yeah, I got to take a look at some stuff here, but that's tough. So pick one here out of these 4. Laviska Shenault, Cole okay, this is if the Bills play. Laviska Shenault, Cole Beasley, T.Y. Hilton, or Brandon Ayuk.
Brandon Ayuk, Laviska Shenault, and who was the other one? T.Y.
Hilton, Ayuk, Beasley, Shenault.
Beasley's out. He would actually probably be my start. We already said Visca over Ayuk earlier, and Hilton I'm not going to start. So Visca.
Yeah, I hear you. So I have another one here. Dearness Johnson or Chase Edmonds? Surprised we haven't gotten more Dearness Johnson questions.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to go with Edmonds just because of the matchup, but I think that they're pretty even. The problem is Dontrell Hilliard, and you don't know if Dontrell Hilliard is going to get more run.
Right, and I wanted to ask you about that. So what are your thoughts on, because I didn't get to go through this with you on Fighting Chance Live, what are your thoughts on Dearness Johnson as far as with Chubb out? Do you think he carves out a usable role, or is he really just a handcuff at this point?
No, I don't think they're going to run with one back. I think we've seen that they want to have a two-back system. They run so frequently that they want to keep their backs fresh. They're going to constantly rotate. I don't actually think they're going to get into a third back being in that rotation. So it's just a matter of, is it going to be Johnson or Hilliard? I keep meaning to look to see if Dontrell Hilliard was even active last week, because, you wouldn't normally have 4 running backs
Right.
on the active game day roster. Week 4. So, I don't know. I think I'm putting in Dearness Johnson over Dobbins this week. That's kind of where in that ballpark range. So I think if you're in a league and you have a bottom spot, like, pick up Hilliard just in case to see.
Yeah, and to add to that, so with the Browns not using just one guy, is the role, if he does get some of that run, Dearness Johnson, is that going to be flex worthy, or is that still a kind of a hold and a wait and see? Because people were putting a lot of fab into Dearness Johnson, and I didn't target him in any league as far as a fab pickup, just because I was not sure that they were going to be able to give him a fantasy relevant role out of the gate like that.
If it wasn't for the Indy matchup, I would have him as a high end RB3. Okay. I think that I think he'll get 10 to 12 touches. I mean, he came in and got 13 touches in a game where they were just running all over them. But also, like, Dallas kept getting back into that game. So you would think that would be very much more of a Hunt game, talking about last week. And yet he still had 13 touches off the bench for 95 yards. So
right.
And I think if I remember correctly, he's like an AAF kind of star. Like, he did well, and then he kind of came up and worked his way up. So you know how I love my little narrative players, that they're kind of getting their shot type thing, and let's see if they can do it. It just happens to be a shitty matchup.
Right. And I think probably with that matchup, the Browns and Colts not being a very high game total as far as total points, that might play into that too. And, figuring maybe he's not going to have a fantasy worthy week this week, but
yeah,
we don't know. That's the thing. But, it's just seeing for the high dollar amount that he was going, I really had to sit down and think about that. Like, was I wrong to not even put in a bid for him when these guys are, on a $250 fab dollar budget, or bidding like $80-$90 on him? Like,
it makes sense. They're running so well. They have one of the best, if not currently the best, rush blocking line in the NFL.
Yeah.
Everything about this. I mean, this is why, like, I was so high on Nick Chubb coming into the season, and also Hunt. Like, we both really liked him. It was just, we really thought this was going to be their identity. So you just want a piece of that. Like, imagine if Hunt, gets the touches that Chubb did, but also what Hunt does. And then if he's getting 12 to 15 touches in that offense,
right,
he more than likely is going to be a back-end RB2, high-end RB3 moving forward, a set and forget flex that you just got off the waiver wire for 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, absolutely. I can see it both ways there. So yeah, now that we've talked about Dearness Johnson for the last 7 minutes,
right?
All right, we got another one here: Jonathan Taylor or Kareem Hunt in PPR. Kareem Hunt for me.
It's Kareem Hunt for me, but I think a lot of that's recency bias. I also think that Hunt is probably one of the most talented backs in the NFL. I'm comfortable saying that. So
no, I think the same thing, and I think it's almost. I'm concerned about how the Colts are not using Jonathan Taylor. I mean, yeah, the fantasy mind and all of us wanted us to, just anoint Jonathan Taylor when Marlon Mack went down as 20 touches, 120 yards. Here comes the next Adrian Peterson. Boom. And, we have to figure this is the NFL. They don't care about fantasy. This is a guy that's also a rookie that's also learning the scheme, and they have to work within the scheme. They have a quarterback that shouldn't be throwing a lot, but they're also going to work in guys like Jordan Wilkins. They're going to have Nyheim Hines as a satellite guy. So, it's not just going to be the Jonathan Taylor show. I think we got spoiled by, that 1 week that he came out and, did really well and just thought that was going to be the norm. I mean, it's clearly not. So you almost have to temper your expectations. Is Taylor a high-end RB2? Yeah, absolutely. He's going to get that work.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're going to be mistaking him for I don't know, he's not a league-winning back right at this stage right now. Maybe later on the season, when they really have to run the ball.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. All right, one in the chat here again. Zach Pascal or Emmanuel Sanders?
Probably going with Sanders. He seems to have a little bit of an emergence going on. I just can't really trust that passing game in Indy right now.
That's a coin flip, but Pascal's getting a lot of those targets over almost, in spite of T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton just hasn't looked great at all. Right now the tight end, with Mo Alley Cox is being and now they have Trey Burton to work in. It's tough to really pick one there. We're waiting on T.Y. Hilton. Obviously Pittman and Campbell are out. Pascal has really kind of shouldered a lot of that heavy lifting in the stead of Hilton. I would still take Sanders, though. I think Sanders looked really good last week, and I think he can build off that, even with Thomas, if he does come back. If he doesn't come back, even better for Sanders.
Yeah, totally.
Yep. All right, so we got a few more questions, and we will get to them because I know we started a little bit late. So I'll just make sure we hit a couple of these up, and then we'll get going here. Todd Gurley or Antonio Gibson?
Antonio Gibson.
Will Fuller or James Conner? Gibson, by the way, on that previous.
Yeah. Fuller? Man, I'm just so nervous. Like, those guys are just the same person on different positions.
That's one of those I'm Ron Burgundy?
Yeah. I think I'm going to go with Fuller.
Yeah. Oh, man. I think it's a Will Fuller blow-up week this week. I mean, I'm going with Fuller over Connor. I don't necessarily like it.
I like both.
Yeah. Let's see here. I had one more here. Okay. Pick 2. This will be the last one. Malcolm Brown, J.K. Dobbins, Dearness Johnson, Nyheim Hines.
Pick 2?
Pick 2. And this is close to my heart. This isn't mine, but just that level of running back that you have to choose from is very near and dear to my heart with all my 0 RB teams.
Johnson for sure. Dearness Johnson. And probably Malcolm Brown. Just looking at the weather report, there is quite a bit of rain in the East Coast right now, and I think that'll probably lead to an even more run-heavy approach for the Rams. Plus, they're going to be up. So as much as I said I like Akers, that's just because there's a 33% chance that he's the guy. But so far, when Brown has been healthy, he's been the primary ball carrier.
Yep. Actually, yeah, right in that Beltway area there. So, we're looking at Baltimore, too. Baltimore and Washington.
And Steelers.
Absolutely. So, yeah, that's been Fighting Checks Kickoff. If you have any more questions, like I said, send them on over to us at KTompkinsII, at GaryHead1. We will answer them as soon as we can here, just coming up before kickoff.
Scroll down a little bit for me.
We'll do it. Hey, thanks, man. I am shocked that the NFL hasn't made a decision. This is insane.
Yeah,
I get that it's way more than just bye weeks and whatnot, but this is crazy. Make the damn decision. Regardless of fantasy, the NFL is beholden to its fans, and they are, while they don't do anything for fantasy purposes, they understand that there are a lot of people that are going to be very pissed off, and it's just going to exacerbate the view of how the NFL has handled COVID if they don't make a decision in the next 52 minutes.
Boom. There you go. Gary's soapbox. I love it. All right. So, like I said, send those questions over to us, and thank you for watching, and good luck this week.
Good luck, guys. Hi, Bubba.